In the cockpit, a 2-degree error in the Fed heading during takeoff puts an aircraft miles off course. Your team can drift the exact same way if instructions are not to the point. August 5th, 1997, Korean Air Flight 801. A massive Boeing 747 was on a night approach to Guam Islands in the Western Pacific. The weather was deteriorating rapidly, heavy rains, dense clouds, and poor visibility. Inside the cockpit, the crew was completely professional. The captain had said he was a little bit fatigued. The cockpit environment was calm, and the checklists were being processed for a smooth landing. But a fatal split had already occurred, unnoticed to the system. The captain and the first officer were planning the instrument approach using two different landing charts. One chart was outdated and the other was current, and they had major procedural differences. They were looking at two different altitude profiles, building two separate mental models of where the ground actually was. Nobody realized that they were no longer sharing the same exact picture of reality. They were flying in towards the same runway, having their visions limited by low clouds and rain, and operating on completely different parameters. That invisible gap, coupled with other factors, became fatal. They flew their aircraft directly into the limit zone, claiming 228 lives. The accident didn't begin on impact. It began the moment the crew stopped sharing a single uncompromised version of the truth by not questioning each other's action. Now, look at the dashboard of your own organization. Monday morning, 9 o'clock, the executive team sits around the conference table. The CEO lays out the strategic objective and closes the brief saying, "So, we all agree, right?" Everybody nods their head. Everyone leaves motivated. But look what happened when that signal passes through different departmental filters. Marketing hears it as velocity. We must capture the market immediately. The engineering hears it as quality. We need to lock down the process and eliminate technical faults. Finance hears it as cost. We must optimize resources and defend the margins. And the sales hears it as features. We need to build whatever closes the next contract. Friday arrives, and when the deliverables are checked, chaos. No one ignored the meeting. No one sabotaged the strategy. Every single department head executed flawlessly, but they executed on their own mental models. Your meeting didn't create a synchronized team. It created highly efficient but divergent vectors. Aviation discovered decades ago that disasters rarely begin with a sudden engine failure or a sudden cause. They begin with unnoticed creeping errors of human threat. To solve this, behavioral psychologists at the University of Texas developed a framework called Threat and Error Management System, also called TED. The process is that the crew would discuss explicitly in their briefings about the threats they can face on this flight, and would have also spelled out to each other how they were going to mitigate these threats. It trained flight crews to assume that threats are always present in the environment, and so engineered a proactive check system to capture errors before they translate into an accident. As leaders, you too must deploy the exact same preventive mindset. You cannot afford to wait for a project to fail on Friday to discover your team was misaligned on Monday itself. You must actively stress test the data link before you release your teams to execute. When humans drift apart under pressure, the Human EICAS identifies highly predictable systematic degradation modes. It can be called 3 distinct warning stages. Stage 1 is the Human EICAS alert, team alignment unstable. This doesn't mean emotional friction, it means operational divergence. The meeting looks completely healthy from outside, but underneath the data link is getting fragmented. Stage 2, Human EICAS caution. Priority alignment is drifting. This happens when individual business units quietly optimize their own local objectives rather than the global mission. Finally, stage 3, Human EICAS warning. Coordination stability reducing. Verbal communication continues, emails fly, Slack channels overflow. The actual cross-functional synchronization has completely disappeared. The crew is talking, but the navigation charts are misaligned. So, in the next meeting, as you are closing a critical brief, ban that lazy question. Does everyone agree? Agreement, friends, is easy. It requires zero cognitive effort to nod. Instead, run a 4-point alignment check. Ask your team these 4 simple, direct questions separately. Number 1, what is the goal? Let them tell you in their own words what is that single most important objective of this project. Number 2, what is the metrics? Tell us, what does successful outcome look like from your department's perspective? Number 3, conflict scan. Let them tell you what is the biggest day-to-day challenge or constraint their team is facing right now. And number 4, tell us what is the first action your team is going to execute when you leave this room. If their answers don't match, your team is misaligned. Agreement that existed during that Monday morning briefing but did not lead to operational alignment. So, if their answer shows even a 2-degree variance, your data link is broken. Agreement existed, alignment did not. This is exactly where the discipline of the EC³ Way recalibrates your leadership content. Empathy. Feel, don't just broadcast. Step into their operational shoes to understand what their system is actually receiving. Critical thinking, find, scan the room, actively look for subtle clues of divergence or sub-optimization and hidden resource constraints. Creativity, solve, intervene to bridge that gap, rebuild a single unified picture of reality on the main display. Finally, communicate, that is lead. Run a complete read-back check. Verify absolute synchronization before you clear your team for execution. You would now realize meetings do not create alignment. Leaders do. Agreement is simply how you end a meeting. Alignment is how you safely execute a mission. This week, when you stand at the head of your boardroom table, do the TEM procedure. That is, use the threat and error management procedure. Don't leave your crew asking, did everyone agree? But leave the room absolutely certain that every single professional in that room carries the exact same mission chart. Calibrate your dashboard, and if this briefing sharpened your operational clarity, then subscribe to the EC³ Way. Together, let's learn to have clarity under pressure and deliver performance beyond expectations. I'm Group Captain Rajit Isaac, and the briefing is complete. Jai Hind.